Number 69. Is this fair?
Wilds, this is Christmas in July. This is a bonus check out of the blue.
What?
A day off when you least expect it. Because yes, this will absolutely motivate Lamar Jackson. I love this. I love this. Thank you, NFL scouts.
Players. This is
That's
opponents.
the other one I'm thinking
Opponents
of.
and teammates.
The other one I'm thinking. Thank you, NFL players. Because you have just motivated one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. And here's the evidence, Nick. The 2 previous times he's been ranked low.
Oh, look at this.
2019, now he's coming off his rookie season. He's unranked. All he does is win MVP. 2023, he has an MVP in his pocket already and he's ranked 72 going into the season. All he does is win MVP. 2026, ranked 69th, new OC, new head coach.
I like it.
He loves the offense. He's of course what he's been talking about. He's talking about how much he loves it, how it's going to be easier for him. And this, now you've motivated him. Oh yeah, it's going to be great. And I get, look, in fairness, in 2019, obviously coming off his rookie year, you get that. 2023. He had been injured, only played 12 games in the 2022 season. Similar to last season, he played 13, was banged up. So I get if the players are looking at, last year he was banged up. Started out hot, but when he got back, he was okay. He wasn't typical. So I don't want to rank him that low. I'm just saying this is motivation for him.
It does seem a little rude.
I
mean, Brew.
But again, it happened in 2023.
But then
he was moving.
But he didn't have that body of work yet.
He did have an MVP, though.
No, correct. He had when it happened before, he had one unbelievable season, back-to-back years where he was injured at the end of the year.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so his star had dimmed a bit. I think more understandably, as opposed to coming into this year. In the last 3 years, he has back-to-back first-team All-Pros, then a down year, and then
I'm surprised it's that low.
The floor falls out, and I think it'll be more surprising, we're going to get to it in a bit, when we see some of the next few names that come out on this list. But what it does say to me is, and again, I don't know how seriously guys take this list, but historically, Lamar's done really well on this list. You know what I mean? He has finished the previous 2 years. He was ahead of Patrick. He was, I think, the top quarterback each of the previous 2 years. Is at least some folks share some of the concerns I have about last season. That it was potentially, I'm not even saying this is where I'm planting my flag, but I am more open to the possibility than I think Brew and Wilds are, that last year was, when we look at Lamar's career graph, last year's going to be this mark on this trajectory.
Oh my goodness. So the prevailing narrative suggests that Lamar Jackson is experiencing a decline, yet Patrick Mahomes is supposedly exempt from such scrutiny. That, in essence, is the argument being presented. Yes, that is precisely it. So Jackson is regressing, but Mahomes is not. That logic is utterly coherent. Completely, entirely coherent. Before we delve into this, there are 2 key points I wish to underscore. First and foremost, I urge Baltimore Ravens supporters to ensure they are subscribed and to view the full video in its entirety. When you engage in this manner, both viewership and subscription numbers surge dramatically. This is not merely about inflating statistics, it is about cultivating a platform dedicated to Ravens content that fans genuinely desire to consume and debate. This enables us to sustain the most impartial, reasoned, and candid conversations about the team and, by extension, Lamar Jackson, given that we are poised for a compelling dialogue here. When you watch the complete video and subscribe simultaneously, it generates significant momentum. I am particularly eager for a substantial volume of comments because I believe the discourse will be multifaceted, extending beyond mere allegations of disrespect or declarations that one player is unequivocally superior. It will involve considerable nuance and a much deeper exploration of the issues at hand. To me, and this is perfectly acceptable, these rankings are endlessly intriguing for numerous reasons. When you articulate opinions, and you have likely encountered such remarks in comment sections, I certainly have, given my work in video production, people often retort, "Oh, so you presume to know more than the experts or the players themselves?" This is a fascinating dynamic. I find myself producing content where I express disagreement with figures like Matt Hasselbeck, Dan Orlovsky, or even Tom Brady, and the question arises, who am I to challenge someone of Brady's stature? At other times, I reference Kurt Warner or Brady to support my stance. It is a perplexing situation. The reality is that the capacity to pursue the truth of a statement, to strive for objectivity, to meticulously analyze what you observe, and to formulate an honest, balanced, and impartial perspective is a distinct skill set in itself. This ability is fundamentally separate from being an actor, a celebrity, a wealthy individual, an executive, even for a football organization, a coach, or a player. There are athletes who possess knowledge far beyond what you or I could ever hope to attain, by an order of magnitude. We cannot remotely compete with that depth of understanding. Yet, that very individual may be incapable of constructing a grounded, unbiased assessment of who the premier quarterback is, simply because they have never needed to cultivate that particular aptitude. Perhaps they lack the inclination or the capacity. I firmly believe that we all possess diverse abilities and skill sets. I am certainly not the most brilliant person globally. I have reiterated this countless times, even referencing myself alongside Nick Wright. I am confident that if we both read a book, he would excel at answering questions about its content far better than I could. If it were an examination, he would outperform me. That does not imply he is a superior individual. He can recall specific statistics from 2019 more readily. However, that does not convince me that he constructs superior arguments or maintains greater impartiality. We all have our own strengths. Furthermore, there are individuals with whom I am currently engaging in this very discussion who simply cannot participate, perhaps due to disinterest or an inability to comprehend the subject matter. That is equally acceptable. This line of reasoning occupies my thoughts because it becomes increasingly apparent to me how I can reconcile disagreeing with someone like Tom Brady while simultaneously invoking his words when they align with my perspective. How does that make sense? We now have a perfect illustration of this conundrum. This list, which I have addressed in videos across multiple seasons, is particularly interesting because my own views on it were not fully crystallized initially. The same applies to the executives and coaches whose rankings were released. When that executive list emerged, I expressed my disagreement with it, even though it placed the quarterback I consider the best at the top. I refrained from celebrating prematurely. Someone noted that the previous year's list was deemed flawed when Mahomes topped it, yet now it is praised. I clarified that I explicitly avoided claiming vindication, thereby demonstrating my consistency and objectivity. This is precisely what frustrated me when Colin addressed it on his program. He argued that Sam Darnold's omission was absurd and that executives were clueless, yet he simultaneously claimed validation regarding Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Once again, how do we reconcile these conflicting positions? For me, the list's overall credibility is questionable. It serves primarily as a springboard for dialogue. That is the primary function of these rankings, in my view. The most pertinent discussion at present revolves around what players genuinely comprehend. They should possess immense knowledge, given their on-field experience. These voters have physically tackled Lamar Jackson, caught passes from him, been defeated by him, and defeated him themselves. Meanwhile, we observe from home on television. Regardless of screen size, the players appear diminutive, especially when viewing all 22 positions simultaneously. You might think, yes, Lamar is the 50th best player, but combining left tackles, running backs, safeties, and quarterbacks into a single list of 100 is bewildering. I strive for accuracy, objectivity, and grounding, as I always emphasize. I have absolutely no clue how to rank wide receivers alongside safeties, corners, centers, and quarterbacks with any precision. I doubt the players do either. Thus, the more significant conversation is not whether players perceive Lamar Jackson's decline, according to whom. I want to see where Mahomes lands on this list, given that he has not appeared the same for the past 3 years. You can cite team factors, but extend that same consideration to Jackson. I did not consider last season particularly stellar for either Lamar or Mahomes, nor even for Josh Allen. I have consistently stated throughout the previous season that we were witnessing previews of how these athletes perform when their mobility diminishes and they are no longer at their athletic peak. I applied this observation to Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson alike. I said we are getting glimpses that things are not quite as they once were. We can attribute this to offensive line issues or minor injuries, but that is what it resembles. I am not predicting a permanent decline or dismissing their potential for future greatness, but we undeniably received a foretaste of what is to come. It is somewhat unsettling because fans are reluctant to confront this reality. I argue with Dak Prescott supporters who insist he will play until age 45, to which I respond skeptically. Dak is not on the level of Matthew Stafford or Tom Brady. We are more likely to see quarterbacks age like Russell Wilson, retaining some ability but not quite reaching previous heights. Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes are vastly superior to Wilson, so the comparison need not be perfect. On a list of 100, I have no idea where Lamar should be ranked. However, this list provides a reference point, which is valuable when formulating opinions or reacting to others. Pat Certain is at 85, and I disagree with much of this arrangement. Baker Mayfield is not superior to Brock Purdy, and Lamar Jackson is not merely a few spots ahead of Mayfield. They are not remotely comparable. It is not apples to oranges, it is apples to rocket ships. If someone asked you to buy oranges, apples, and a rocket ship on sale, you would question their sanity. That is the absurdity of this comparison. Sometimes, when I make videos, I use Mahomes as a benchmark. If people ask why I always reference him, it is because he is the gold standard. Do they want me to argue that someone is better than Baker Mayfield? That would be pointless. The only time I do that is if Mayfield's fans make such claims, and I respond accordingly. Otherwise, using a reference point of greatness to say someone is better than Mayfield is nonsensical. It is a joke. That alone is insane. This then calls into question the entire list. When people encounter rankings, they often say, I disagree with one thing, but everything else looks fine. You must be cautious with that approach. Is that one item an anomaly, or does it reveal broader issues? I felt similarly about the executive list with Dak Prescott's placement and other omissions. I disagreed with too much to endorse it. Therefore, I cannot see it to support my own views. Now, with this situation, Baker is not above Purdy. Jordan Love is significantly better than Mayfield. If we see Bryce Young at 98, we know Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, and Drake May will appear. Essentially, every other quarterback will be listed. Lamar Jackson is positioned below Dak Prescott. Do you grasp how outrageous that is? Is Aaron Rodgers no longer included, or is he grandfathered in? What are the actual criteria? Are past accomplishments disregarded? Is Jaden Daniels excluded due to injury? Are we saying he is not even better than Bryce Young? The list itself, gradually leaked, provokes complex discussions. It is more important and entertaining to unpack the conversation as it unfolds. You must determine the real topic at hand. I know I am not entertaining the notion that Lamar is only marginally superior to Baker Mayfield or that he ranks below Dak, Caleb, and others. I think that is quite absurd. Despite some perceived limitations, such as needing to improve as a passer or run an offense more effectively, areas Lamar himself wants to develop, which is why Declan Doyle was brought in. If we are discussing ready-made quarterbacks right now, you might believe Caleb or Drake will eventually surpass Lamar. That is a valid perspective. But if we are talking about the present, imagine the Super Bowl. You have a great team to have reached that stage. Who do you want as your quarterback, Lamar Jackson or Dak Prescott? That answers itself. In the Super Bowl, who would you choose, Lamar or Drake May? Lamar or Caleb? Despite Lamar's playoff struggles, would you prefer Drake or Caleb, who were not exceptional in the playoffs? Lamar has made spectacular playoff plays, so that argument does not hold. What do we do with that? It is pretty crazy. Considering other quarterbacks like Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and Kyler Murray, will some be ranked poorly? With Bryce Young at 98, and Bo Nix presumably listed, along with Jalen, Herbert, Drake, Stafford, Goff, and Mahomes, the list becomes more defensible if Mahomes is ranked lower, indicating a different standard. If Mahomes remains in the top 5, then it is insane. What reference point are we using? If Mahomes is low, I may disagree, but at least I understand the criteria. It becomes more defensible. The same applies to Joe Burrow. It is fascinating. But yes, the players voted. These are NFL players on the field, earning millions, some having played in or won Super Bowls. They placed Lamar Jackson at 69th, just ahead of Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield. Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jalen Hurts will all be ranked above him. Remember that the next time you quote a player who shares your opinion. Those are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours. What do you think about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson being 69th, the fifth quarterback revealed? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, whether you agree or disagree. Let's discuss, debate, and have fun. Please consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community, and I would love for you to be part of it. I want to create content we all feel connected to and excited about. We are well on our way. Please give this video a thumbs up, it helps visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.